water, earth, fire, air. Welcome to Avatar Discussions, and today we're counting down the top 10 moments in Avatar: The Last Airbender. For this list, we're looking at the best and most popular moments in this hit Nickelodeon show. Before we begin, we are issuing a spoiler alert. If you haven't finished the series, we suggest you go do that before watching this video. Number 10, The Betrayal of Azula. In this Season 3 episode, we learn that friendship is more powerful than fear. As Zuko is escaping the boiling rock and the guards begin to cut the gondola line, Mai fights off all of the guards one by one and starts the gondola back up, allowing for Zuko's escape. When Azula and Ty Lee get back to Mai after fighting off Suki, Zuko, and Sokka, Azula confronts Mai and accuses her of being a traitor, asking her why she would betray her knowing the consequences. Mai then responds telling Azula she was wrong, and that she'd rather be with Zuko than fear Azula. Azula draws back, ready to shock Mai with her lightning. Mai pulls out her daggers, but before there's a chance for a fight, Ty Lee reaches out and chi blocks Azula, rendering her bending useless. Ty Lee then runs over to Mai, and they try to get away, but they are quickly stopped by guards and arrested on Azula's orders. This scene specifically shows us how powerful Mai and Ty Lee's friendship is, and is a huge building block in Azula's downfall down the road. Number 9. Katara vs. Hama. Hama is an elderly Water Tribe woman who escaped a Fire Nation prison with the use of a sub-bending style she created herself, bloodbending. Hama used the dark ability on Katara herself. Katara knew what she had to do to stop Hama. She took a deep breath and forced herself to bloodbend Hama, causing Hama to drop the boys from her blood grip. Soon the townspeople are able to come and get Hama and arrest her again. Many people love this episode because it shows just how far Katara is willing to go to protect her friends and family. It also points out just how powerful Katara is, as she teaches herself to bloodbend in mere seconds. This ends up being a key part later on when Katara goes to find the man that killed her mother. Number 8. The first Agni Kai. Often overlooked, the first Agni Kai of the series is fought between Zhao and Zuko, and is a large building block on Zuko's firebending training. Throughout the fight, Zuko is getting coached by Iroh, and getting his butt kicked by Zhao. Zhao gets Zuko down, where he is now unable to fight. Iroh, coaching from the side, reminds Zuko that in firebending, your root is important, and to win he must break Zhao's root. So as Zhao approaches Zuko, ready to claim his victory, and no doubt leave Zuko with another nasty scar, Zuko sets a flame to the ground around him and kicks Zhao back. He stands to his feet, and gives a few constant blows to the feet, knocking him farther back each time. Finally, when Zhao is reeling back, Zuko delivers the final blow, knocking Zhao to the ground and sending a flare that just misses his face, claiming his victory. Later on in this scene, Iroh confronts Zhao and tells him that Zuko is more honorable than Zhao will ever be. This is a testament to Zuko and Iroh's relationship, showing that Iroh has and will always believe in Zuko. Next up, taking the 7th spot, breaking into the Earth Kingdom Palace. After a fight with Long Feng, and finally getting Appa back, Aang and the rest of Team Avatar headed to the castle to inform him of his corrupt government and the war. So as they race to beat Long Feng back to the castle, they're faced with hundreds of royal guards and Dai Li agents. Toph and Aang go in front, bending away every rock thrown at the gang. In this scene particularly, we get to see Katara use her newfound bending mastery for the first time as she takes down tens of agents all at once. This moment is favored by a large part of the Avatar fandom because it shows us just how determined Aang is to fix his past lives, and his own, mistakes. It also shows us how much the gang cares about each other, always watching each other's backs as they run into danger together. Number 6. Aang meets the sandbenders. While Aang, Katara, and Sokka were in the spirit library, Toph stayed outside with Appa. To her dismay, the library started to sink with the Avatar and friends in it. She did everything she could to stop the sinking, but while she was holding up an entire library herself, some sandbenders approached and started to tie up Appa. She did everything she could, but she couldn't just let the library sink with anybody inside. This resulted in the sandbenders getting away with Appa. After a long walk through the desert, the gang runs into the sandbenders that stole Appa. Aang, in a fit of rage, wrecks all of the benders' sand sailors, and as the benders continue to deny claims, Aang reaches his boiling point and enters the Avatar state. Sokka tells everybody to run, and to get away before something happens, but as everybody runs, Katara stays. She walks over to Aang and grabs his hand, which causes him to drift back to the ground. Katara pulls him into a hug, while he cries. This moment receives loads of love and praise from people both in and out of the Avatar community, because this scene reminds us that Aang, despite being the Avatar, is human, with real human emotions and feelings, and losing Appa hurt him. 10 out of 10. Definitely made me tearbend. We're halfway there. Anybody else wishes you lived in the Avatar universe? Just me? Okay. Number 5. The Crossroads of Destiny. This episode, as a whole, is one of the best episodes in the entire series, as it shows us just how powerful these teenagers are. Azula takes over the entire Ba Sing Se government, Zuko regains his honor, well, kind of, and we get to see Katara fighting in her mastery. Not to mention this is one of the first times we get to see Zuko and Aang fight one-on-one. And there was that Zatara moment, but we're not going to talk about that.
That would be illegal.
Overall, this episode showed us that the peak of our favorite characters and the turning point for Zuko's character arc. After Aang finally gained access and control over his avatar state, Azula struck him in the back with lightning, almost killing him. But this gave us more depth to one of our favorite characters, seeing as this moment is the core reason for his avatar struggle. Number 4, Sozins Comet. Speaking of Aang in the avatar state, we see Aang willing to take on Ozai on the day he is most powerful. This, however, ends up turning back on Aang when Ozai is kicking his butt. But what makes this episode one of the most loved moments in the series is that right when we thought it was over, Aang was shot back against a rock, and this rock hit his scar in just a way that it unlocked his chakra and allowed him to enter the avatar state again, and giving him full control of it. It's just an added plus that we get to see him royally beat Ozai afterward. In the end, Aang didn't have to kill Ozai. He was able to take his bending away, which allowed Aang to fulfill his avatar duties and maintain his airbender morals. What an amazing end to the series. Number 3, Zuko's burn. On to a sadder topic, when Prince Zuko was just 13 years old, he went into his first war meeting after promising his uncle he would keep quiet. Despite that promise, when one of the war generals posed the idea to send a new, untrained unit to the front lines as a ploy to draw out and exhaust the other nation's military, Zuko spoke out and claimed that those were loyal soldiers that love and defend their nation, and that they can't just send them to die. As a result of his outburst, his father told him he'd have to duel an Agni Kai, so he looked at the general he spoke against and decided that he could take him. When Zuko approached the Agni Kai, he realized it wasn't the general he'd be dueling, but his father. Zuko begged for mercy and refused to fight. In turn, his father left him with a nasty scar covering a large portion of his face, and banished him to hunt for the Avatar. This moment, as sad as it is important to Zuko's character, perhaps more than anything else that has ever happened to him. Which leads us to number 2, the final Agni Kai. The final Agni Kai has become one of, if not the most, loved fighting in the Avatar universe, for its somber music, character representation, and amazing choreography. This fight starts as a one-on-one between Azula and Zuko, a fight for the throne and ultimately a fight for the future of the Fire Nation and the world. Zuko, feeling overconfident, asks Azula where her lightning is. Azula returns with a snarky remark, and Zuko gets ready to redirect her strike. Trying to end the fight quicker, Azula aims for Katara at the last minute. When Zuko realizes this, he jumps in front of her and takes the strike, saving Katara. She rushes in to heal him but is cut off by Azula, rapidly shooting lightning at her. A fight then breaks out between Katara and Azula. Katara knew she couldn't beat her, so she needed to outsmart her. Katara can lure Azula in and suspend them in water, only to unfreeze herself and chain Azula down to the gated drain and drop the water around them. Azula then realizes she has been defeated and lets out a loud, heart-wrenching sob. This scene shows us just how smart Katara is, and just how broken Azula is. And as we see in the end, Azula was just a lonely girl who, in her last moments of clarity, just wanted her mom. Katara is able to heal Zuko, and Zuko later takes the throne. Before we reveal our number 1 pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Roku's Temple. Here we get to see Aang converse with one of his past lives for the first time. Zuko alone. This entire episode was committed to Zuko, and showed us what it's like for him to travel and deal with his life alone. It also shows us some heartbreaking flashbacks that gave us more insight into Zuko as a person. Sokka vs. Piandel. What is often confused as a filler episode showed us that Sokka was a larger asset to the team than we thought, and that just because he couldn't bend didn't mean he didn't deserve his spot in the gang. Finally, our number 1 pick, the best moment in Avatar: The Last Airbender, Kataang and the Volcano. Earlier in this episode, Aunt Wu, the fortune teller, tells Katara that the man she is going to marry is a very powerful bender, which Aang overhears and automatically goes to thinking this is him. Later on, Aang inadvertently admits his crush to Sokka, who then confuses it with Meng and gives him the go-ahead. Eventually, Aang admits to Meng, who'd already figured it out, that he likes and wants to be with Katara. Nearing the end of the episode, the volcano that is bordering this town erupted. Aang, who already had the villagers prepare and evacuate, goes head-to-head with the volcano, using his bending to stop the lava from destroying the town. As he uses his airbending to stabilize an entire wall of molten lava, Sokka looks up at Aang and mentions just how powerful of a bender he really is. Katara, taken aback by this, asks Sokka to repeat himself, and when he does, we get the first real look at Katara realizing what Aunt Wu said, and relating it back to Aang. That's it for this top 10 video. Do you think that Kataang deserved their own number 1 spot? Or do you have a top 10 moment list of your own? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear what you think deserved a spot on our list. If you like this video, be sure to let us know by hitting the red subscribe button and tapping the little bell to get notified every time we post new content. Thanks for watching, and stay flamin'!